What is going on, everyone? Griffin here, coming at you with some Ronin gameplay, and today we're going to be talking about Rogue Company 2. Are we getting a Rogue Company 2? Let's head over and let's talk about it. So for those of you that are unaware, Smite is having their world championship, LAN extravaganza thing that's currently happening right now. I believe it's happening at the time of recording this. It'll probably be done by the time this video goes live. But during this Smite world championship thing that's happening, Hi-Rez and Titan Forge actually announced Smite 2. So Smite was developed in Unreal Engine 3. They're updating it to Unreal Engine 5. They're making a ton of changes to the game overall. So what does that say for Hi-Rez's other properties? And honestly, it doesn't say a lot, right? Because we currently have, if we look at the grand scale of what Hi-Rez is doing, they only realistically have 3 games that are currently running in contention with one another. We have Smite, we have Paladins, and we have Rogue Company. The DKO player base has been so small for so long that I'm not exactly sure why the developers haven't pulled the plug on that game yet. It's eating up valuable resources that other games that Hi-Rez could actually be utilizing for those other games. Realm Royale is still a thing, and Realm Royale still exists, but Realm Royale still has a very small player base as well in comparison to the other 3 games. That was a game that was shut down, and the developers decided that they wanted to bring it back, pulling yet more time, more resources, and more people away from working on other high-res games to work on a revamped version of a game that gained some very interesting success and then just kind of fell off the face of the earth because of questionable changes, questionable updates, questionable balance changes. So with that being said, Smite is the biggest game that Hi-Rez currently has, and is the biggest game that Hi-Rez has had in its entire existence, from what I can understand and from what I can see, right? Because Smite maintains a very, very, very core player base. It is something that is very popular, not only on PC, but also on consoles. They still have the Smite World Champions. They still have all of this comp stuff that is happening with Smite. So it makes sense, at least in my opinion, why they're updating the game from Unreal Engine 3 up to Unreal Engine 5, and they're making a ton of changes in the process. It is something that makes sense, but it's also leading us into questions like, what does this say about some of our other properties? Now, we have been told time after time after time that having new skins in Rogue Company takes a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of man hours. That having new things put into the game, new rogues, new cosmetics, new everything put into Rogue Company takes a ton of time, a ton of people, and a ton of work to make it happen. But we've been investing all of this time and all of this work and everything into making Smite 2 happen. And you can sit there and argue with me all day long that Titan Forge is a separate entity from Evil Mojo and all this stuff. And yeah, if you really want to get down to brass tacks, sure, that's true. But it's still a shared pool of resources, right? You're still sharing resources from team to team to team to be able to make sure that all of your games are continuing to run. So they've spent probably, I would say, two years, maybe longer, updating Smite into Smite 2. And then Unreal Engine 5 comes out, so they were probably working on it with Unreal Engine 4. Then they decided to pivot into Unreal Engine 5 whenever Unreal Engine 5 was released. And that makes sense. Updating from Unreal 4 to Unreal 5 sounds like it doesn't take a lot of work. It sounds like it's something that is a lot simpler to do than moving from Unreal 3 to Unreal 4 or from Unreal 3 to Unreal 5. So you can't fault them for that. Put it on the newest engine. It makes sense. It makes sense why it's being updated. It makes sense why there's a sequel to this game coming out. What doesn't make sense is like they prioritize Smite, they prioritize Paladins over prioritizing Rogue Company. And it's one of those things where you have to give to get, right? You have to give to get. When was the last time that we've had new things put into the shop? When's the last time there was an event? When's the last time there was an event pass / battle pass / anything in game that like hyped people up and inspired people to come back to the game? When has there been a crazy, ridiculous meta shift within Rogue Company that's inspired people to come back to the game? Whenever Jared was in the game, making the changes to the SMGs, whether you liked or hated those changes, whether you agreed with them or not, it brought people back into the game. It brought a ton of people back into the game to try it out. Oh, SMGs are getting nerfed because that's all people play. Sure, I'll re-download the game and give it a go and see how it feels. Yeah, I'm having a great time with this. This is feeling really good. Like, it shifted things, it changed things up. Jared, whether you agree or not, was definitely on the right track with what he was doing. Unfortunately, Jared no longer works there, and they've basically put Rogue Company into this weird, like, limbo state, if you will, because, like, nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows when we're going to get a new Rogue. When are we going to get new? We got, you know, Canals 2. That's probably the last map that we're going to get for a very long time. We just got Vivi, a very, very poorly designed Rogue. That's probably the last Rogue that we're going to get for a very long time. We've got, you know, Bounce House, or whatever it was called, was the newest LTM. They brought Snipers Only back. I haven't really seen anybody playing Snipers Only because it seems to be very difficult to go in there and turn abilities and utility off whenever you're playing in a Snipers Only game. I don't know. I'm not a game dev, but it seems like it sounds very hard, seeing as how people have asked for that to be changed and updated. Snipers Only has been in the game since they updated this season with the new event pass, and they haven't made that change that I'm aware of. So it must be very difficult for them to make that kind of change and to make that kind of thing happen. So what does that mean? Rogue Company 2? I don't think so, right? Rogue Company 2 is only going to happen if Rogue Company gets a huge resurgence of players and maintains a huge resurgence of players and nets the company enough money to justify updating it from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5. Like I said, it's not going to be something that would be difficult to do. It's not something that would take a lot of time and a lot of hours into updating. You can basically copy paste assets over and update the engine in that way. You'll have to sort out some technical difficulties, but at the end of the day, will they take the time to do that? I'm going to say no, especially when they don't take the time to accurately balance the game out, to actually put interesting game modes, actually put interesting characters, put new maps, put new cosmetics, great event passes, great skins, great cosmetics. Like, there's a lot of check marks that they have to hit, in my opinion, to be able to make, like, Rogue Company 2 a reality. And since they're not hitting any of those check marks, at least in my estimation, then why do people feel like that they think that they are going to update this from Rogue Company to Rogue Company 2? They could update it from Unreal 4 to Unreal 5 and call it Rogue Company, and it would be in the newer engine, and it would look better, and it would probably perform a lot better, in my opinion. But I don't think that they're going to do that. I don't think that they're going to take the time to even do that. Why would they? I think it would make more sense, at least personal opinion, it would make more sense for them to update Paladins from Unreal 3 up to Unreal Engine 5 than it does for Rogue Company. And I'm a fan of both games. I haven't played Paladins in a while, but I am definitely a fan of both of those games. And at the end of the day, that's where I stand on it, 100%. So what's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen. Rogue Company is going to maintain course and maintain its current trajectory. And hopefully there will be major shifts in the game and things that will actually bring players back into the game that will allow it to grow. But at the current rate that everything is going, it's going to stagnate itself out and it's going to continue to lose players. We've seen that happen over the course of the last couple of months. It's continued to hemorrhage players because there's nothing new, nothing interesting, nothing exciting that is actually coming into the game. I mean, we get all of our skins that we've gotten in the last 3 event passes were almost all recolors of existing skins. So why would we go in there and drop $7 to $10 on an event pass when it's not bringing us anything in? It's not bringing us anything new into the game that we're excited for. The last rogue that we got was Vivi. They still can't get the issues worked out with Juke. They're going to bring in a new character that's going to have a lot of the same issues that Juke has, and we're not going to work on and get those addressed. We still have issues with matchmaking. We still have issues with servers. We still have issues with player retention overall and player understanding, better onboarding for players, right? We don't have any of that stuff. We're just kind of like let out into the dark and told to find our way. Rogue Company 2 is not going to happen. Rogue Company could update from 4 to 5. But let me ask you this, and this is where I'm going to end the video at. Would you rather have the developers upgrade the game from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5, where it's going to fundamentally play the same? It's going to feel the same. It's going to look very, very similar. It's going to look a little better, but it's going to look very similar. It's going to run very similar. It's going to have the same issues with bugs. It's going to have the same issues with servers. It's going to have the same issues with weapon balance and all that stuff. Or would you rather them take the time to put things into the game that you legitimately want into the game? New rogues, new maps, bug fixes, all that stuff. Let me know. I'm very interested. Let me know in the comments down below. Also, be sure to check that description for links to Facebook, Discord, and Twitter. Those are the places to contact me. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, then consider hitting that join button to become one of the 256 crew members. Lastly, on Thursdays and also on Sundays, I will be streaming here on YouTube. So if you are interested and available, please feel free to stop by and say hello there. Thanks for watching, guys.